Welcome to The Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Volume Podcast Network, live from our Tommy John home studios. I am Chad Millman of the Action Network. This is our Sunday night wild card episode in which we review the results of our best bets so far and preview the early lines for the divisional round. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, my companion, my compadre, my BFF professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Hello, Chad. What a bounce back, brother. How we doing?
We're doing better. We're feeling better. I'm going to explain to you a little bit of a crisis of confidence that I had, partially brought on by you. Cost me a little bit. But look, we're watching the end of this Eagles game. We had the Eagles 3.5. They're up by 9 with about 4 something left. They got the ball at the 20. I'm not saying it's over. I'm not saying anything. I'm just stating the facts. We're going to let people watch this game along as we record the podcast. We want to get to some of those divisional games that we especially already have lines for. We're talking about the Chiefs and the Texans, the Bills and the Ravens. Catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. For those enjoying on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. As a reminder, The Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. And now, new Bet365 customers get 150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Sign up using promo code FAVORITES, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. All right. First game we talked about last week that we liked, Chargers minus 2.5 at Houston. What a disastrous final 3 minutes of the first half from the Chargers. From dominating to holding their own to having CJ backed up on the 1 and nearly getting him for intentional grounding in the end zone, to it's 3rd and 19. He fumbles a snap. It goes over his head. He picks it up on a bounce, rolls out to the right. All the Chargers have now run towards CJ, leaving a receiver wide open. First down, they go on to score. The next 30 minutes is all CJ as Justin Herbert, who we specifically bet the Chargers because we believe Justin Herbert would do a better job, a superior job of holding on to the ball and not having any turnovers in a game where the holding the ball was going to be at a premium. CJ was brilliant in the second half. Justin Herbert, 4 interceptions, including a pick 6. He had 3 the whole year.
Yeah, I think you touched on it, though. What decided the game to me, it was just that simple play of that fumbled snap that went over his head. It took him, whatever funk he was in and him not seeing the field, it snapped his confidence back. That's what that play felt like to me.
You're right.
He definitely got away with one. That was a sack, intentional grounding. The play before.
Oh, my God.
He was not outside the tackle box. And, you know, I think that's a little bit of the home team losing in that spot. The refs easily could have called that, and I'm shocked they didn't. And you're right. That 3rd and 16, huge play, you know, that kind of decided the game just because, you know, we're not even talking about, but that Herbert, when it was 6-0, his receivers were dropping balls, and he was, you know, he kind of lost a little bit of confidence there and was forcing it in there. But at one point, they had multiple turnovers, and they only had 6 points to show for it. And you kind of knew that if Houston just got a touchdown before half here, it could be, you know, a big deal. And not only did they do that, like you said, they got 10 points. They were up 10-6 heading into half. And, yeah, this is the game of the haters of Herbert, a guy who skates by and gets 0 flack. This is the day that they are happy about because they can just say, look, you guys want to crown this guy as a king? I mean, there's guys who have been power rated higher than Joe Burrow. And it's like, I get they're doing it for clicks, but come on. I mean, what are we doing here when you have him rated higher than Joe Burrow? And it's a year of, you kind of see what you need to do for the Chargers. You need to get him weapons. Like, you can't roll him out there with guys who are just dropping those passes like they were for Herbert. So, yeah, brutal bet, brutal loss. And, you know, I don't know how you felt, but heading into that game, it was like, okay, I'm feeling confident because the side we're on, and when they got the turnovers, it made me feel even better. But then once it, like we just said, it started going sideways, I was like, oh god, we have totally stepped into one here, and this is going to be a brutal loss. And yeah, worst game I've ever seen Herbert play. I don't know about you, but that to me off the top of my head, that is the worst game he's ever played.
How could it not be? The guy had 3 interceptions the entire year. He's one of 3 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers to have 400 pass attempts and 3 interceptions or fewer in a season. And he throws 4 in a game. And I'm with you. I was making notes on this game and I'm like, they've got multiple turnovers. Off the turnovers, they only had 3 points to show for it, including as soon as they intercepted CJ Stroud, Justin Herbert rolls right, throws across his body into double coverage,
Yeah,
50 yards downfield, and the Texans steal it right back. To me, that was the moment where I was like, uh-oh, this is not good. And this game and how it was so bad to watch. Like it just wasn't good football. Like was the beginning of a tailspin into a mental spiral for me that led to bad decision making that ended up costing me today, which I will tell you about. But it just wasn't pretty as we
no,
got into the next game, which was the Ravens and the Steelers. And look, I think the exact decision for me this week was the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, and the Simon Says for you was the Pittsburgh Steelers. We liked them at 10, and they were terrible. They were everything that we were afraid of. They did not have any Mike Tomlin rah-rah magic. Russell Wilson could not convert a first down. Um, they could not do anything in the first half. 2 first downs, 9 minutes time of possession, 1 of 5 on third down. Lamar looked unstoppable. Pittsburgh looked like it didn't want to stop him.
yeah, and I honestly hated the decision to start the game where they elected to receive, and it's like you've been a second half team the whole season. Why not put yourself in position to get the ball first in the second half? It obviously didn't matter. I think they forced a 3-and-out anyway on the Ravens to start the second half, but it was still a bizarre situation where you're right. They basically got the ball, 3-and-out, punted, and Lamar. Not that he wanted to settle in, but you could just tell he had a lot of energy, and he literally was just like, I'm just gonna run this myself to start this game. I'm protecting this ball. I'm gonna throw them off kilt here, and that was not a Lamar through the air type of game. That was really we are the best run blocking running team in football, and we're gonna show it here with me and Derrick Henry. And Lamar is the ultimate weapon. Like we know that the guy might win his third MVP when he gets it going on the ground. It kind of settles the whole offense. And you kind of saw that even on the final touchdown to Justice Hill, it was like vintage Lamar moving around that backfield, even though he knows there's 3-4 seconds on the clock
Yeah.
when he's doing that. And it's just perfect read, perfect touch throw. And you're right. It's 21-0. I'm a sicko. I still thought mathematically we weren't dead. And unfortunately, Pittsburgh did show up in that second half in the third quarter. And it's 21-14, 28-14. And Russ has the ball again. They're driving, and you're thinking, okay, we can get this back door, and we can end this day 1-on-1. No, they didn't get there. Russ gave up. I mean, Tomlin too would even talk about that. Tomlin punting in that 4th-and-inches. It's just like everything was just cowardice to me about Pittsburgh in that game. They played not to win. They played not to lose, and that was a great win for Lamar, but I think it showed how important Derrick Henry is to that team. I think he had 170 yards rushing, and
Yeah, he was.
clearly the difference maker in that game. Pittsburgh just had no answer for that. So, yeah, brutal bet, brutal end of that day. And I'm with you. Like, going to bed that night, I'm just like, holy shit. Could not be seeing the board any worse right now. 2 bets, 2 blowout losses.
So I was so disgusted at halftime of that game. It was about 9:30. So truly disgusted between how much I hated watching that Chargers game and how generally bad the football was. Like turning into grumpy old man where I'm yelling at myself, why the fuck are these commercials so fucking loud?
I
on
agree
these
with that though.
fucking
There are too many
games.
commercials.
There's so many commercials and they are so loud. Like the volume on the commercials. I thought, didn't they pass a law that was like the commercials can't be louder than the show that you're watching because they were so loud. I turned it off at halftime. Only checked the score in the Action app. I went
Mm.
upstairs and watched the Jackal, the Day of the Jackal on Peacock with my wife. We'd started watching it, got like 5 episodes in. I'm like, this football's terrible. We're watching the Jackal. She's like, fantastic. Except it kind of cost me. So
Well, before
I,
you go on that, I was just like you. Like literally, I went to the diner this morning with a friend to get breakfast, and she's in a good mood. And I'm like dead inside because I have 0-2. And I walk in, there's this really happy family laughing. In the back of my mind, I'm like, what the fuck are you so happy about? So I was going through the same thing you're going through of just disgusting the world just because of my own bad bets. So
oh my
I was
God.
right there with you this morning.
I'm so glad you say that because it makes me feel better about what I did last night. Because obviously, I do this a lot, but it's not what I do for a living. And I have not had a good year and I have felt badly about it and I have lost my confidence. And so to hear you say the same thing, that like you're still feeling badly about it, even though I know you quickly get over it and are betting, as did I all day today. So, I like Buffalo. We had Buffalo, Denver at 8.5. And all week
Buffalo
I
teasers, that was also a nice hit.
Yep. I liked Buffalo all week. And as the week went on, you became more and more wishy-washy, right? And
Yeah,
like
definitely.
by Thursday, your comment was, and I won't forget this, I'm gonna back this because you're my guy. That felt to me like, I don't really like it, but I want you to feel good. I know you're feeling bad. I know you like it when you like it.
Definitely confident
Like
of the teaser, but yeah, you're right. About Buffalo and the number, I was not confident on. It just
by the
was
time we did
scary.
convince me yesterday morning with Raybon and Kerner and Nick and Evan, uh, you had made Denver plus 8.5 your bet for this game. We went game by game on the show. So that was in my head the whole freaking day. And then we get blown out on the Chargers. We get blown out on the Steelers. As I'm watching us lose the Steelers bet, after I get the big red X in the Action app, we've got an 0-2 day. I had been thinking, like, should I buy out of the Bills? They're a big favorite. Like, I don't know if I can stomach being 0-3 going into Philly against the Packers, where that also makes me nervous. Like,
Yeah.
by 12:30, after I had streamed 3 freaking hours of the Jackal, I'm never up this late. We couldn't stop watching it. I bought out my Buffalo Bills bet
Oh
and bet
no.
Denver 8.5. Yeah, I did. Clearly, I'm regretful. Clearly, this was a crisis of confidence. The reason I share these things because I want listeners to understand. I bet sometimes they feel the same way. I'm betting a lot of games every single weekend. I am immersed in this and it still happens. Like sometimes you just make bad decisions and the game played out exactly like I thought it would. And we went and discussed it on Tuesday with the Bills piling on points as the game went on. It was uncanny how well we described what would happen.
Yeah, and it all goes back to what we talked about on Tuesday, which you nailed is these quarterbacks making their first playoff starts, especially if they're a rookie. It's just a terrifying spot for them in that spot. And yeah, my doubt came from I thought it was just a lot of points for a Bills defense that we've seen has struggled. And, you know, they not only did they show up, but they also had a nice little game plan there of, just keeping everything in front of them. They really did that. They gave up that one big play, and then the rest of the game they were able to keep everything just in front, especially the safety. So, yeah, huge win for the Bills, and yeah, a game that we talked about Josh Allen MVP discussion. That to me is the sum of the perfect discussion for him in MVP, where it's like in that game the different plays, even if you can say he didn't have it, he definitely didn't, right? In that first half, it just wasn't very Josh Allen. Like, it was
No,
sloppy. Probably should have been 10-10. They got really lucky that Denver missed a field goal. It's 10-7, and I'm sure Evan tweeted it out, but it's like Josh Allen's second half this year has just been dominant. He's been absolute money, and whatever it is, he came out and did the same thing he's done all season. He absolutely dominated that second half, made big time throws. Yeah, Evan just put in our chat. He's 15-2 second half spread against the spread this season. It's truly remarkable. So that to me is the ultimate confidence. If you're someone that is backing him, and we're going to talk about his upcoming line this week. He's just been incredible these second halves. Like, even when he doesn't have it, he finds it. And, when he needs to make the plays with his legs, he does. Like, they had a couple of times where it's like, third and short, fourth and short, and he trusts his legs over his arm because he knows how big and strong he is. And if he can just head fake the right way and get a guy in the wrong angle and he can fall forward, he'll pick up the first. And he kept doing it in that game. So, brilliant game by Josh Allen, the Bills defense. And, Bo Nix didn't play well. We can all agree on that. And, that's tough, but you're the seventh seed. It's just like we're seeing here with Green Bay. Like, there's a reason these teams are the seventh seed, right? They're just in a tough spot. So, yeah, chalk has been good. It's all home teams right now, Chad. Home team and chalk for the playoffs to start.
So, by the way, I do want to shout out Dr. Nick, who had the Bills Broncos under 48 in the luck rankings. Talked about it on Convince Me yesterday. My only solace is that I did make some of my money back betting the under. And of course, Josh Allen almost single-handedly tried to make the total go over the 48 in the second half. Like, I just kept, for the last 45 minutes of the game, I went to my kids' rec league basketball game, and the whole time I've got the phone next to me and I've got the Action app, and every 2 seconds I'm getting an alert. 24-7, 31-7, 28-7, 31-7, 38. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Can you stop fucking scoring? Because if I lose this under after I bought out of the fucking Bills when everything happened that I said was going to happen, I am going to fucking lose it right here in the Hall High School gym. So nice job, Dr. Nick. The game went under by 10 points. So look, Green Bay of Philly, Jordan Love was just intercepted. We liked Philly -3.5. There's less than 2 minutes left in the game. The Eagles have the ball. They're up 22-10. At the risk, I'm not saying we won, but I'm just saying there's less than 2 minutes left. The Eagles have the ball and they're up by 12 points. You had this game at 6. We betted at 3.5. We betted again at 4. We betted again at 4.5. Kudos to you. The game closed at 5.5. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I want to leave us time to talk about next week's games that are already lined. And also, this one's not over yet, so I don't want to fully jinx it. But kudos, because this game closed at about 5.5. It skyrocketed today, which was surprising to me.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. I mean, it's over. We can talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the type of game that, not that we thought that Jordan Love would lay this big of an egg, but we knew that something was just off with this Green Bay team, especially coming to this game, and that, they had been out of rhythm, and they faced an Eagles team that the biggest question coming in was Jalen Hurts, right? Coming off that extended rest. And there's no doubt he did look rusty in this game, right? I think the whole offense did at certain points, but it also felt like it was the same old Eagles team this season. Like, it's just a team that leans on the defense, has a great running back, and a great quarterback that can run with the ball. So that was the most shocking part to me, was how many QB runs Hurts did.
I was too.
They completely, that's why I think it was only 1 week, a really minimum concussion, because they didn't change the offense at all. I really thought that would be the biggest difference, and there was no difference. And this is a team that, even if they win ugly, it's a win, and that's kind of how you want it to be in the playoffs. You want to lean on your defense and have a strong run game, and that's why this team is, viewed as a powerhouse right now heading into these playoffs. And this game couldn't have started any better for them, right? That hit, that fumble, touchdown pass by Hurts, and then basically you're in a spot now in Green Bay that you're chasing against one of the best aspects of this team, which is their pass defense, and they had to keep putting the ball through the air. Jordan Love had 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions in this game. They had a fumble on the kickoff. Josh Jacobs had a fumble, 3 interceptions by Jordan Love. So yeah, just everything basically went the exact way the Eagles wanted to. And this was a good game for Hurts to get rust off, and you expect going forward, we'll see what number I have them grade out this week, but Not that I felt low on the 6, but I felt like it was crazy. I was the only one that had the 6, and everyone else was much lower on it. And I think it was just an overreaction by most bettors to the Hurts injury. That's what I think it was. And also the fear of, like we talked about, going against LaFleur as a dog. He's
Yeah.
been incredible. So, yeah, huge game for the Eagles team in the sense that they just need to show something offensively. And I think they did today. I think Hurts, 2 touchdown passes in a quiet game. He'll take that anytime.
I was actually really impressed with the game plan and how it progressed over the course of the game and into the second half with Hurts because, he had like 12 passes in the first half, maybe 39, 40 yards, whatever it was. And as the second half went on, he was definitely throwing more, definitely
Mm.
looking downfield more. Obviously, the plays were calling for that, but they must have seen something in the adjustments that made them feel comfortable doing that after halftime, and he played well. Like he ended up, having probably, I don't know the final stats yet because I came up before the game was over, but between 20 and 25 pass attempts, I bet he completed 15 to 17. Um, Ended up having a good enough game when you have Saquon Barkley and that defense, which is just so fucking legit. I mean, that's the reason why we were betting this game to begin with, is just that defense. And I don't think people, especially the betting community, is accounting for the advantage this team has with this defense from back to front, from coverage to tackling. They are fucking fierce.
Yeah, and the fact that they have an All Pro and Carter in the middle, and then right behind him an All Pro linebacker. It's you can see it in that game where
Yeah.
that's key. And I think Evan had an amazing post in our chat right here. Through 4 games, road teams have scored 43 total points. So that tells you all you need to know right now about how big of a deal home field is in the playoffs and why it does matter. And I've heard some discussion about teams, they want to change the format, right? They don't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
give the division winners home field, and that to me is just so ridiculous. Like
Well, they
that,
want to give the teams with the best records
yeah,
home field.
I hate that. It's just keep it as is, please, NFL. Don't you keep changing so many things. Just stop getting bored. So yeah, like we just said, 3-1 favorites right now. It's been super chalky. It's continued to be chalk, and a little scary because right now, I personally really love the Bucks, so I
Yeah.
need the chalk to continue. And we need the home teams to continue because we're on the last 2 teams are both home teams. So yeah, we're hoping chalk goes 5-1 and home teams sweep. That's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, so we're on the Bucks tonight, -3. Kickoff is in moments. I do want to run through these last couple of games. Like in theory, by the way, the Rams are the home team, but they're playing in Glendale. That line is at 2.5, I think. It moved from 1.5 to 2.5 when it went back to Glendale. Um, Houston at Kansas City. Kansas City, this line opened at 7.5, immediately got bet up to 8.5, came down to 8. Obviously, we're going to dig in great detail in all the games and all the lines on Tuesday. But any first reaction, it's now down to 8. So the initial money came in on Kansas City, moved it up, and then there's been a little bit of buyback on the 8.
Yeah, it feels like another really simple game where Houston has been incredible covering first half spreads. If that's the side you like, take them first half because I just see the Chiefs doing what the Chiefs do, which is just wearing them out second half, and that's really when they dominate teams. And if you're looking for a reason to take Houston first half, it's like, well, they've been dominant in the first half, and you expect Mahomes after 21 days off to come out a little slow, right? That's just the basic thinking there. So I'm anxious to see what my model is going to have this number at because to me, this does feel high. This feels like a lot of respect for this Chiefs team. But then you have to remind yourself, oh, yeah, this is the Chiefs at home in January against an inferior opponent. Like if Houston makes the same mistakes they made against the Chargers, it isn't going to be 6-0 in the first half. They're going to be
Right.
getting down 13 or 14-0 in that first half. So yeah, I'm with you. That one definitely jumped out. But this next game, Chad, this is definitely the best playoff game coming up in this next round.
By the way, the first half line on that game between the Texans and the Chiefs is 5.5. Kansas City 5.5. All right. And by the way, it's back up to 8.5 as far as I can tell. Baltimore at Buffalo, lined open at I think 1.5, moved
I saw
down to
some
one.
twos.
Did you see some twos?
Yeah,
So now it's down to 1.
that feels
So,
right.
so the money has come in on Baltimore
It
in
should.
in this game. You power rated this in any way yet?
No, but I did take the 2 when the Ravens first came out with it. It felt like that was too much, and now it feels right. Like this was what the number should be. I think the Bills deserve the respect. They are the home team. -1. That to me is the right number for this side. And I do want to be on the Bills, honestly. Like I just took the 2 because I thought there was value there on the Ravens, especially it's Lamar as a dog, obviously. But maybe I'm being a sucker here, but my initial gut is just like, man, you're getting Josh Allen at home, and I just can't see him not willing his team to win this type of game. Like he's done it all year in this exact scenario. And I just visually I can't picture him losing this game, especially at home. And when you dive into the matchup, the Ravens do a lot of things they can counter defensively that can slow down Josh Allen. They do have the pieces to do it. And offensively, we've seen that teams, they can't move the ball against this Bills team, especially with offense. Like when they played early in the year, we saw it seemed like a huge mismatch. The Ravens seemed like the much better team. Was that 35-10 win? I'd have to go back and look, but it felt like it was a blowout by that Ravens team against the Bills. Now, we can say both these teams are obviously way different now this late in the season. If anything, the Ravens are better defensively than they were at that point. And, this Bills offense, I can't see them putting up only 10 points at home. Like this feels like it's going to be a shootout back and forth type of game. And that if it was 2, Chad, I'd be telling you let's early here take this Ravens team. But now that's down to -1. And again, I'm not rushing to bet it because I think you're just like me. I could see this flipping because the pros just made their statement. They like the Baltimore side. I think the public will join them, honestly. Like Lamar, he is the guy right now. And this Ravens team feels like the team. So I could easily see this flip at one point, and then that's when me and you move in if we do like the Bills and take them as a dog.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Ravens are the more complete team.
Definitely. Well, they have 6 All-Pros.
They got 6 All-Pros. Their defense has really turned the corner. I mean, the graphics they were showing yesterday, which we've talked about a lot the past 5 weeks, this is the #1 defense across every metric since about week 10, right? Everyone says it. They moved Kyle Hamilton into the deep safety position full time. They moved Marlon Humphrey into the slot. It has completely changed how they communicate. It has completely changed how they cover. It has made them an almost impossible team to throw against. Russell Wilson might be a little bit washed, but he was facing a team that was making it very hard for him to complete any passes. It was hard to complete 3rd and 3s for 2 yards against the Ravens. So that's interesting to me. Obviously, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry complement each other so well. One of the reasons why I was convinced to not bet the Bills was because of the conversation around how bad their defense is and what Sean Payton and Bo Nix would be able to do against them. So why do I feel better betting on the Bills when the Ravens offense is not led by a rookie quarterback and has a better running game and they'll have Zay Flowers back more than likely. So why wouldn't I play the Ravens here? Like what magic does Josh Allen have against a team that is more complete and more well-rounded and a defense that the Bills have to play against an offense that is really incomparable right now?
Well, one, it's all about the number. To me, that's if this number, like we just said, if it was 2 or higher, that's where the value is on that Ravens team.
Right. So, but if it's at 1, if it's a pick,
yeah, the value to me is on the Bills just because they should be favored in this spot because they are the home team, and it is Lamar in the playoffs on the road. Like I don't know if you've seen his history. I can't think of a time he's won.
I'm not buying it. I'm not.
But this is the same exact thing you did last year, and I did with you last year. I'm not going to let you talk me into it this year. He beat up on a bad Houston team last year and then got smoked when he played a real team in Kansas City. And now he's going on the road and he's playing a real team in the Bills. So I get it, Chad. I get your hesitation. He beat up on a shitty Pittsburgh team that lost 5 in a row. Let's just run through it real quick why their defense had this incredible turnaround. They got smoked by the Eagles, right? Do you remember that game? They lost 24-19.
Yes.
It was not a 24-19 game. The Eagles dominated that game. They had their bye week, and then they played the Giants, Pittsburgh, a Houston team that me and you both don't think that's good, and then Cleveland. That's what they ended the season on to make this defense sound like a juggernaut. So there's a reason for me to be skeptical here, and there's a reason I think that the Bills should be favored. That's just my whole point. But I get where you're coming from. Like I told you, the pros agree with you. Like the early money here is all Ravens for good reason. It was You had Lamar in a key number at +2. That to me was a smart bet to open up with it. But now that it's moved down, to me, that's my whole point. It's like once it's moved below that, it's starting to shift the value to this Bills team that I totally get where you're coming from, Chad. I do not feel confident in their defense. All my confidence is just Josh Allen in this spot at home, trusting if he has the ball last, he'll win the game. Like we go through with Josh Allen, his kryptonite has been his defense his whole career. Like you go
Yeah.
through everything, all those losses in the playoffs has never really been about him. You can't see the same about Lamar. So you're right. Am I excited to be bet against Lamar and Derrick Henry? Fuck no. It's not something I'm looking forward to. That's why I'm hoping the books give me and you a better number and I can feel more confident at taking this Bills as a dog at home.
Or what if it turns around? What if, this is a fascinating public perception game because the Ravens beat up on the Steelers, but at the same number, just about, the Bills beat up on the Broncos. And there's plenty of people who would say the Broncos were playing better at the end of the year and had a higher public sentiment rating for lack of a better term
True.
than the Steelers did. So there could be money coming in on the Bills from the public by the time we are talking about this again on Tuesday and even on Thursday. And in that case,
Yeah, if
I
it's
can get
above two and a half, me and you, I feel like are in agreement. We'll both be on the Ravens.
oh my God. If I didn't see the two, if I had seen the two, I would have bet the Ravens at 2. I'm tempted to bet the Ravens at 1, but I will try to keep my powder dry. But
Yeah, wait till Tuesday. Don't
yeah,
rush.
it's gonna be hard not to bet the Ravens as an underdog here. We let me ask you. Oh well, let me ask Matt Mitchell quickly because I liked when he came on last week since he is our resident Bills fan and his entire neighborhood gets ice cream when the Bills win a playoff game. You felt uber confident about today's game in the wild card round, Matt Mitchell. Tell me what you're feeling about the divisional round in Buffalo against the Ravens.
Yep, I did feel like Buffalo Bills would give the Broncos an absolute fucking dose. And indeed, they force fed the Broncos that dose today. Had a great time. But like I said, I'm never worried that disaster will find me. It's always looming around. I'm consumed with anxiety about this game. I'll feel like throwing up until the game is probably all the way over. So yeah, not brimming with confidence. I'd rather play the Chiefs twice than play the Ravens. I'll tell you that.
Really?
Yeah,
All
I'd
right.
rather play the Chiefs this round and then have to play them again in the AFC Championship game. I hate this Ravens team.
So this game is at 6:30 p.m. next Sunday. Interesting timing. We're gonna have to,
Jesus.
yeah. So I don't know if you knew that or not, Matt Mitchell, but it's wreaking havoc with our schedule a little bit.
Lamar in a night game.
Yeah. We don't know at this point any of the NFC matchups. We could go. I don't really want to go through every combination permutation here. I want to be able to go watch the Bucks game, and I want our viewers to be able to go watch the Bucks game, even though many more people are listening to this as a podcast. But there's so many games that are being played that have yet to be matched up. So I don't want to run through every single combination at this point. Simon, you agree?
Agree.
Okay. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365, and now new Bet365 customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Sign up using promo code Favorites, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. Catch our next episode live on Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on Action Network's YouTube channel. Download us from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe. Leave us 5 stars. Say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until Tuesday. Love you.